Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Well, my friends, again, another day that feels better than the day before. I told you yesterday that I'd listened to 3 different economists. The one that I feel most comfortable about is Dr. Dotzour, which used to be here, the head economist at the University of, I believe, Houston. I'm not sure. But it was one of the Texas colleges here. He was the main guy. And for years we've been listening to him. He's an expert in real estate modeling. And he had a talk the other day. And the talk was with another company, some type of real estate company, some kind that had brought him in to talk, and the conversation was very scattered. However, there was stuff in there that I think was interesting, and luckily for you, one of my most successful real estate investors here at Lifestyles, John Boriak, which is also the president-elect of the Houston Apartment Association. John took the time to actually take notes on this seminar, and he was kind enough to send the notes over to me so that I could share them with you guys. And I'm going to try to backfill some of what Dr. Dotzour said from notes, which is going to be a disaster, I know, but I got to try to do it for you anyway, just to see if we can get somewhere with it. We want to make this a situation where we look forward. You know, the looking back is done. We're going to stay in. It's going to be however long it's going to take. In fact, the first thing they start with this whole conversation is, well, how long? And the answer is, as long as the virus determines we have to. Boy, what a cop-out. In other words, they don't know. And they are afraid of putting everybody back to work before they figured they broke the back of the virus. But they don't know. And so we can only guess. Some people are guessing, the end of April. Some people are guessing the end of May. And then you've got the people that hate Donald Trump, and they want to see him not get reelected, and they're guessing we're going to be shut down for 6 months to a year, 18 months. Now, why are they saying that? Because they know it's not true. They're saying it because they want to make it look like Trump destroyed the economy and that it won't come back. Well, that may be true even. There's a possibility that it could be true. The reality is, though, what was his choice? I mean, you were all over him to shut stuff down. When he didn't do it fast enough, you weren't happy. So I think there's enough blame to go around, but the bottom line is, who's the blame really belong to is probably irrelevant, because it's probably the Chinese government. I mean, from everything that you read and see, they don't want to hear that. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with the rest of the story.
Lifestyles Unlimited is the real estate investor education and mentoring group that has been taking people by the hand and teaching them how to invest in real estate for 29 years. Our students have been so successful at creating wealth and passive income that they have won local, state, and national Investor of the Year awards 12 of the last 12 years. If you're ready to add real estate to your portfolio, go to lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com to access our free live training event schedule.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today what I'm going to do is go through some notes at Dr. Dotzour's seminar, or actually lecture. I don't know what it's called. It wasn't really much of either. It was just kind of him giving his opinion of what's going on right now. So it's just kind of pull it together. The first question that he was asked and he really struggled with was, is this what's going on right now, current economic climate, feel more like 9/11 or World War II? And he kind of hemmed and hawed about that, because basically what they're asking, I think, is this a long, protracted problem like World War II? Or is this like, bam, everything happened in one day like 9/11? How do you feel right now? And he says, I feel like both of those is what he says. He felt like it's all happening all at once, and yet it doesn't seem like it's going to come out of this tailspin for a long time. He goes on and says, next question is this going to be another jobless recovery? And he states that he believes it is going to be a jobless recovery. He's both positive, and this is what economists, his favorite saying is, you know that 50% of what I say is wrong, right? Because I'm an economist. But the bottom line is that he's showing you the pros and the cons. You can come to your conclusion, because he doesn't know the answer either. I mean, he admit that to you first thing. But he's saying what he sees is that even before this virus hit, companies were facing a recession. It was starting to brew. You could see it coming, and they were already struggling, right? He goes on and says, when you have a catastrophe situation like this, you give companies an opportunity to lay people off. In other words, when we've built and built and built since 2008, we've been an upward positive economic situation. And companies build in people, and they hire people and hire people and hire people. And our unemployment was next to nothing at first of this year, right? He's saying we were really overemployed, and companies started to feel that. And there was you couldn't keep growing anymore, that there had to be a natural stop. And he says companies are going to take advantage of this. And I'm thinking about it, going, okay, I haven't laid any of my employees off. Actually, my wife wanted to lay off an employee and work with less people because the employee was terrible. And so she laid the person off because they were terrible. But then I go, we got to hire somebody else. And she goes, we don't need them. And I said, you got to hire somebody else. You got to keep the full set of positions filled, and don't worry about the short run of right now. But forget about right now. Worry about the way the business should be run. And we walked through, and then finally came to the conclusion, hey, and I think what happened was I convinced her, you've got a manager and assistant manager in an apartment complex. You fire the manager because she's terrible. You've got an assistant, and you're going, well, I can just go over there and help. And no. What if that assistant gets COVID virus? Or what if you get COVID virus? Or what if you both? I said, what do? You going to send me over there? I'm going to run the place? Not going to happen. Hire somebody. That's the argument. So you got inside of our personal argument right there. But the reality is that a lot of companies, that's not the case. You could cut back people in a lot of these companies. And what's happening because of the COVID virus situation is that we're learning to do everything by telecommute. And as companies are saying, hey, we don't even have people coming to work and we're surviving. Do we really need to bring all these people back? And Dotzour is saying he doesn't think they're going to. He said this is going to be a jobless recovery. In other words, the businesses will all open back up, but they're not going to hire the number of people that they had before. Okay? Next point he makes is economic relief bill. Is that plus the federal's lending effort going to be enough? All right, so he's talking about the fact that everybody got these checks for $1,200 for adults, $500 for kids, and then on top of that, there was a emergency relief fund that you could go and apply for, which was a $10,000 bonus, by the way, just non-refundable bonus right out of the blue for each company. Nobody I know has seen that yet. I don't know where that one disappeared to. And then you've got the PPP, which is the Payroll Protection Plan. And I am seeing people now getting okayed. Their loans are starting to get okayed. And I told you that Wells Fargo called us the other day and said, hey, we're back in the game. And for us, we had already, kissed them goodbye. So, guys, for years and years and years, you ask us, can we help you? Can we help you? Can we help you? We say, no, we're very healthy businesses. I own many businesses. As I got tons of money in the bank, and there's really nothing you can do for me. And they go, well, if there's ever anything you can do, let us know. And I'm okay. So first thing happens, the virus thing happens, and now they say, go to your bank where you have personal relationships with and get this loan for 2 months worth of payroll to pay all of your employees for 2 months to make sure none of your employees go without pay. Because, look, we're not able to do live seminars. We're not able to send people out and about and so forth. So our company is under duress, right? And so we call up to apply for the loan, and boom, nothing. Lied to us about whether or not they would do the loan or not, and they drug us along for about a week. And finally I said, okay, Chris, which is my CFO, I said, let's just pull the plug with them and go look other places. And within a day or two, he had found 2 or 3 other places that would take us. And so then they call us back and say, well, guess what? We can help you now. And we're saying, you know what? Guess what? It really doesn't matter at this point. So going to be a lot of disgruntled people, I guarantee you. But positive side of this is those loans are going out. They've been approved. I've not heard of anybody getting the check or the wire transfer yet, but I have heard of people saying, I was approved, right? So I don't know where it goes from there. Dotzour, on the other hand, believes that this isn't going to be enough, and like they're already talking about some type of stimulus 4. So the Hill, the government, the economists, they all believe that it wasn't enough. Now, I was listening to another economist, and they were talking about the Fed, and the Fed messed with the money so bad. They made so much liquidity out there. And I'm listening to the economist that comes from the Marcus and Millichap Brokers company, and they're saying, man, there's plenty of money out here. There's going to be lots of liquidity, and there's going to be the possibility, to do deals, and nothing's going to stop. So he doesn't think it's going to be enough to save enough of these businesses. He said a lot of these businesses are going to go down. All right. So the next question is, what looks like an overwhelming response from the federal government may not be enough. Currently, GDP is $21 trillion. Government trying to fill that hole with $5.25 or $6 trillion. That's not enough, assuming that it will cut the businesses by 80%. Stimulus package, $2.2 trillion, will probably maybe go up to $3 trillion. And all that had said, what? Is that, hey, he believes we're going to lose $20 trillion, and they're only replacing $6 trillion. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Get total freedom in your life, safely and quickly. Build wealth and passive income so you never worry about working until you drop, losing your job, or retiring in poverty. 29 years ago, Del Walmsley founded Lifestyles Unlimited. Del has taught over 100,000 people, just like me and you, the principles of financial freedom through his national radio shows and personal one-on-one mentoring at Lifestyles Unlimited. I'm excited to tell you about the real estate workshop that has changed so many lives. This workshop takes you inside what we do and what we believe. We'll share with you the 5 ways we make money in real estate and much more. Just like your personal trainer, the Lifestyles Unlimited team will motivate, encourage, and teach you so you can get in the best financial shape of your life. Call 866-971-8970 or go to lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com to register for the workshop that will change your life. That's lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today I've been going through some notes from Dr. Dotzour's, performance the other day, and the thing that I want to get to is coming up right now, which is what does all this mean to real estate? And I apologize that what's happening here is that I'm working off of somebody else's notes. So they took very good notes, by the way. However, my presentation, the way I see things and the way things flow are different than somebody else's. So as I go through their notes, it's a little disjointed. It has nothing to do with them being right or wrong or whatever. It's just the interpretation and the flow of the interpretation, right? So we bring ourselves back to where we were, and he said, look, what is the Fed doing? He said, you got to realize these things. The credit market almost completely shut down. On March 19th, the credit system had completely dried up. Chairman Powell came out and said they would buy unlimited quantities of almost everything. In other words, they put liquidity back in the market. So real estate was dead. I mean, literally for a day or two, nothing happened. Deals were falling out left and right. And then they said, wow, the whole country's going to shut down. We've got to do something. So they came and said, we'll buy everything. Now, the only thing I don't think he said that they're not buying yet is stocks. They're not buying, but they're buying bonds, and they're buying credit. They're buying mortgages. They're buying everything they have to buy to prop up the financial system out there. All right, so where do we go from there? What does this all mean to us? He said, look, here's the point you got to understand. The Dow Jones dropped 36% in 6 weeks. Vanguard mutual funds dropped 42% in 1 month, right? REITs dropped 20 to 40% across the board. That's real estate REITs. And he said, but the apartment complex that you own, I own, today has lost no money. It hasn't dropped in value one bit and probably won't. So what does that mean to him? It's counterintuitive. He's saying that because this is the only thing that didn't get destroyed, that money is going to pull out of the stock market. You know, people who lost 40% are not coming back. People who went to mutual funds and lost 40%, they're not coming back. Not all of them. Some of them will, right? Some will. But not all of them. Some of them, like in, I guess it's 87, when I was on the, when I lost my money in black. I never went back. I've never owned stock since then. So, you know, it's one of those things where there's going to be a lot of people going to realize that real estate is much safer than the stock market, and they're going to pull out. Now, what is that going to do to us? Well, he's saying there's going to be massive amounts of money available to buy real estate, and people are going to want to buy it. What are they going to want to buy? Apartment complexes. What are they not going to want to buy? Strip shopping centers and business parks and things where people are not going to go to work anymore. They're not going to go out and buy stuff from little mom and pop places when they can go on the internet. And so that kind of real estate is going to take a hickey. Office buildings where they're housing hundreds and thousands of people sitting right next to each other in cubicles is going to take a hickey. But what isn't is multifamily housing, because people have to live somewhere. And it's been the same story for the 30 years I've been in real estate. People have to live somewhere. And he's talking about workforce housing, which is Class C and B housing, as being unreplaceable. You can't replace it. You either have it, own it now, or you will never own it because it's not going anywhere. You can't go build a Class C apartment complex. And why is that important? Because the Class C is the only thing the average American can afford to live in, right? Very, 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 very expensive housing as of this day. And what he's predicting is that with more money chasing these deals, that you're going to see the value of these deals go up, but the return on investment go down. He then adds to that the fact that they are changing what you have to put down to be able to buy an apartment complex. We used to be able to get in for 20% down. Actually, when I first started, we could get in for 10% down, but now in the last 28, 25 years, it's been 20% down. When we went into recessions, they dropped it, or they changed it to where you had to put 30, 35% down. They would only lend 60, 65% of the amount of the deal. So now you have to put more down. But what they're doing now is they're saying, in the past, you had to escrow your taxes and insurance, so that if they took it back, the taxes and insurance were already paid for. Now they're saying you have to escrow not only taxes and insurance, but you're going to have to escrow a year's worth of payments. You realize what that does to your leverage. Kicks it to the side, kicked it to the curb. There's no more leverage. And if there's no more leverage, your rate of return, and I've told you this for years, when there's no leverage, real estate is just like any other investment, although it may be safer, although it does produce income in many different ways, which other ones don't. In other words, you have cash flow and capital gains and appreciation and tax benefits. So it's still the better investment all the way around. But the fact that it was much, much higher rate of return than everything else is going to shrink the difference as far as returns go. Now, I know you've been lied to your whole life because you hear the word real estate, and you said real estate doesn't even appreciate as fast as the stock market. That's because it's a lie. They're lying to you. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I have a $1 million apartment complex. And let's just call it a $100,000 apartment complex, just for simple numbers. And I put 10% down, which is $10,000. And it goes up in value 6%. Has it gone up 6%? No. If it went up 6% of 100,000, that's 6,000. I put down 10. It's gone up 60%. Yet these people are telling you that it really only earned 6% this year. It only went up in value 6%. That is a lie. It went up in value 60% on what we have invested in the deal. And that's what other things can't handle. They can't even come close to that. So you see what's happening is there's lots of room. If we put 20% down, that 6% becomes 30% return. Now what they're saying is you might have to put 40% down, all told, with all your escrows and everything. So if you're putting 40% down, that 6% becomes what? Right? You've got 40,000, you earn 6 on 40. Here's a little quick computer math here. Let's see if I can find my computer. And we take just 6 divided by 40,000 down. We've got a 15% return. Tax-free 15% return. So you see, even with all this added down payment money, with all this lack of leverage, he thinks that real estate's still going to become the preferred, and even more so, preferred investment out there. Now he goes on, though, and makes one more prediction, which I like. He says, but people like my friends, and which he is referring to us at Lifestyles Unlimited and other investors, he said, my friends that are opportunistic investors are going to find that even though the overall leverage has gone down, there are going to be some vulture deals out there. In other words, some people that right now are not positioned correctly in their ownership, don't know how to operate through tough times, they're going to lose their properties. And when they do, those vulture opportunities are going to exist. And he said there is going to be a lot of money made by those types of real estate investors. So there you have it. Overall, he sees that the general return on the average deal is going to go down. He's saying cap rates are going to get, I guess they're smaller. Their cap rates are going to get smaller. There's going to be less return on your money. But, like I've been screaming, he believes the opportunities will exist to make some great deals. So there it is, folks. That's what we've got to be doing. We've got to be out there buying. And as we go through this and we see what they're doing to make this all work, we as investors are getting prepared. We are, like I say, don't go to war without bullets in your gun. I mean, you shouldn't go to war without a gun, but hey, forget just the gun. We've got the gun. Gun is real estate, but we need bullets. And what is bullets? It's cash. You need money. And so we've been talking to people about refinancing. Oh, by the way, the other thing he brought up was interest rates are going to be very low for a long time. So that in itself is going to help people want to buy real estate. Take a short break. We'll finish this up when we come back.
What would happen if you didn't show up for work tomorrow? For the next couple of days? For a week? A couple of months? A year? How long until you lose everything you've worked for in a fraction of the time it took to earn it? If this fear keeps you up at night, it's time to learn the strategies we teach at Lifestyles Unlimited. Start with the free workshop. Go to lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com and find your true financial peace, like so many of our members already have. That's lifestylesunlimitedpodcast.com.
Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we've been discussing what Dr. Dotzour believes is going to occur, his predictions into the future for real estate investing. And so we come here to the last segment. I'm going to summarize something I think that he really felt pretty confident about, and that was he believes that the real estate is going to change and the proclivity for certain types of real estate. And the first thing he says is that, okay, you're going to see a changing from commercial real estate being involved in being stores, because he doesn't believe that he believes that the internet shopping, like I do, is going to take over the country, and that's going to happen. Number two, he says, however, though, is that you're going to see the warehouses and factories might come back and come back strong. Why? He says people are tired of China. I mean, Trump's already been attacking them, and people have been, yes, 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 keep going. But now, when China sends us this problem and won't send us the resources and won't tell us the truth behind what's going on, he has a firm belief that we are going to demand that we take back our most important industries from China. And hence, we're going to change our theory now of business. And the theory of business that was created, I believe, in Japan, is the theory of just-in-time inventory. In other words, you don't have any inventory. What you do is you keep your inventory in a centralized location, and then you ship it out to people when they need it. But even the centralized location doesn't keep on more than 3 or 4 days worth of stuff that you need. So what happens is you tell your centralized location what you need. They ship out a day or two's worth. And this, goes to all the grocery stores, it goes to all the drug stores, it goes to all these things that are out there that we buy stuff from. And then they have maybe, instead of a 3 or 4 day supply, they maybe have a week or two supply. So then they reorder, and it takes a week or two to get their supplies in. So by that time, they've already sent stuff out 2 or 3 times. Well, what they're saying is, or what he's saying, he's saying that there's going to be a demand for the safety of having more products stored up. So he's saying he believes warehouses and factories because they're bringing production back from China. He believes that's going to occur. People are really all fed up with that. So that's his first part of his prediction. The second part of his prediction is he says that he believes, and boy, this is a really interesting one, he believes that Americans are fed up with the cutesy-wootsy lifestyle of living in big cities. He said, when you look at New York and what happened to it, and you look around and say, do you really want to live this way anymore? And of course, you're not going to find a New Yorker out there that's going to say they don't, although I can name you 3 of them that moved from New York to Texas to get away from New York in our group. And we have people moving from California to get away from California in our group. So what's happening is the craziness of these liberal giant cities and liberal states that are basically going bankrupt is sending people away from them. There is a net negative a number of people in those states. They're going away. And he says not only are they going away from states, they're going away from big cities in general, and they want to go back. So he believes that rural real estate is going to go up in value way more than inner city real estate. Whereas for the last 10 years, inner city real estate was just booming, right? So I don't know where to fall in on this one with him. I've owned both. And I've seen that, the one thing about inner city real estate is that it's locked in. In other words, an island. You can't build anymore. There's no more space. Although they did here in Houston, tear a lot of stuff down and put up new stuff, and they're doing that in Dallas. Dotzour has a joke. He says that the state bird for Texas is the crane, and he means the construction crane, because everywhere you go in Dallas are building stuff, right? So I don't know how far I'd go with that one. I do own Class A apartment complex that's in an inner city. It's really in a tertiary level. Still a business district compared more so than downtown, and not the same as where I live out in the rural areas. So we'll see on that one if that actually happens. I would myself personally tried to buy something in the rural areas. I would like to own something because I do see people are moving out there because I live in the rural areas, and I'm telling you, tens of thousands, not thousands, tens of thousands of houses are being built out here and apartment complexes. People are moving out. So I just contradicted myself. I don't know. I do know. They are. He's right. They're moving away. They're moving out, right? So that's another one of his things. The last thing he says, which is almost like a stab in the face to me, because I hate it, but I may be wrong about it in the long run, is that he's saying housing is getting so expensive that people can't afford housing anymore. Remember, we used to qualify people to live in one of our apartments by they had to make 4 times more than what the rent is. Now it's down to 3 times more because people are spending at least a third of their income, not a quarter of their income, on housing. And in seniors' places, we actually got down to 2 times housing, or 2 times their income, right? Because they're spending half of their income. So as housing gets more expensive, becomes more expensive, he's saying that people are going to start buying motorhomes and living in motorhomes. Now, I laugh because we have at least 5 people, lifestyles that I can think of off the top of my head, that have gone and bought a motorhome in the last couple of years. Not because they couldn't afford to live somewhere, but they just wanted to do it. But he's saying more along the lines of people are going to start buying these things, and I've seen them on TV, even vans, doing rehabbing vans, and people are going to go live in these small, mobile living environments and go park it somewhere in a motorhome park. All right, if that happens, then it's a whole new world out there. All right, I went through this. I hope you got something from it, and I hope you have a good weekend because it's been a tough week. We'll see you next week. Remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The Walmsley Radio Show, teaching you the opposite of everything you've been taught, so you can obtain the results you've never obtained. Join us 7 days a week. Can't get enough? Visit DellOnTheRadio.com to listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, access past show podcasts, and join the conversation.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.